Hey folks, let me start by saying this will be the longest training of the entire masterclass. It is the foundation and therefore the most important. It touches on the other tenets as they relate to specific points I made. So it is indeed the most important one, and I strongly suggest you watch and take notes. Now personally, I watch videos all the way through once without any note taking and then watch again with pen in hand. Whatever fits your learning style, just make sure you watch it in its entirety. So welcome once again, and let's get started. What does it mean to be enriched? It simply means to enhance the quality or value of. You're about to embark on a journey with me, and you're going to learn how enriching yourself at the start of every single day you awaken to will bring to fruition the circumstances, the experiences, the feelings, and ultimately the life you want to live. Independent of where you may currently be on the socioeconomic scale, where you live, how confused and stuck you may feel, or any of the problematic things in your life keeping you from truly living and being fully engaged in life every single day. Now, I'm sure you already know, but just to be certain, my name is Kevin Madison, creator of the Day Mastery Tenet Mini Masterclass, and I will be your teacher along this journey. And since I'm not one for squandering time with a lot of meaningless talk, let's get right to it. Again, welcome, and let the transformation begin. When you make it part of your day to find an enriching source to tap into, to learn from, your life will seemingly take on a new luster. And many of the things you've allowed or have had done to you that have wreaked havoc on your peace of mind will stand no chance when you confront them head on. In this masterclass, no stone is left unturned, and all necessary and useful details are laid out for you in a very simple language I convey them with. If you're like most adults, matters not your age, you have experienced stagnation, defeat, unnecessary worry, sadness, and what most people go through life with minimal to no knowledge of how to conquer when it arrives, depression. To say you've never felt such a thing would be false. You are human, and it is part of the experience of feeling a wide range of emotions, not just the ones we want. Over the past 16 years as a full-time entrepreneur, I've had the humbling privilege to build a successful consulting practice and travel the world consulting businessmen and women in 11 different countries, take an awareness expanding 6-month pilgrimage, find my strengths, make friends with some truly unique and very important, committed people in their respective spaces, remain in love with my lady of 11 years, learn how to remain level-headed as calm as still waters in times of calamity and utter confusion, and many other life-altering, fulfilling things. Now, not everything has been ideal, of course, okay? I don't want you to think that. But that was and still is okay. I've always known growth to come with varying degrees of discomfort and uneasiness in the beginning. And this is true throughout the entirety of our lives in this journey that you and I are on. But the most rewarding and beautiful realization that has come as a result of this journey I've been on is this: learning how to truly live with peace of mind. It has no equal in terms of the benefits it has afforded my life. And that's what I'm going to teach you in this Day Mastery Tenets Masterclass. How to cultivate more peace of mind and deposit it into each day you awaken to. By learning what you're about to learn, you will indeed change the trajectory of your life for the better. Every facet of your life will be affected if you allow it. Nothing changes unless you say so when it comes to the quality of the life you live. I will do my absolute best in conveying everything that is necessary for you to grab a hold of and use to the fullest in order to equip you so that you can fashion your life in the way that you choose. You will learn what it means to live with certainty so that the decisions you make create more opportunities for you to grow, expand, deepen your awareness. Awareness of your role on earth as a wife, as a husband, son, daughter, co-worker, partner, brother, sister, boss, or just about any role you find yourself being. You will learn how to truly live by the time we're finished here. If, however, you start going through this masterclass and you feel as if what you're learning is not helping you master your day and live the life that you want, you have 30 days from the day that the first Tenet video is delivered to your inbox to request a refund. It's as simple as that. With that being said, let us begin with Tenet number 1. Find an enriching source to learn from. And I'm going to take a drink of water really quick. This is the foundation of the Day Mastery Tenets, and it is one to don't take this lightly, don't take it trivially. After you internalize this tenet and engage in it every single day, each day you awaken to will begin to look completely different. Now, not all will resonate with you at first. I know that because it didn't resonate with me when I was first taught many of the things I'll be sharing with you. But that's perfectly normal. It's your hardwired belief system doing what it's supposed to do. Serve you and fight for you. Fight anything that isn't of its own making. And this is what causes so much misunderstanding throughout our lives with others. Because we're not willing to cease the fight, to listen, and internalize and rewire ourselves. We do this out of fear that if we are to question, or if we do question or abandon the belief system that we have been holding on to and built our lives upon, that there will be severe consequences. This is an illusion that can be replaced with the reality of living a life of peace and in complete harmony with all that is around you. I want you to write this formula down, as it will be a point of reference for you throughout this mini masterclass and your life. Enrichment plus certainty plus benevolence equals POM, peace of mind. When you feel enriched, you feel empowered. When you feel empowered, that creates certainty. And when you take that which makes you feel empowered and certain in what you know and feel, and deposit that empowerment and certainty into each and every day you awaken to. Now note that the act of depositing your empowerment and your certainty, depositing that goodness, is the benevolence in the equation, because that daily deposit not only benefits you, yourself, but it also benefits those within your world. That daily deposit will grant you peace of mind like you've never experienced. A sustainable peace of mind. A sustainable peace of mind is happiness, the way life is supposed to be. Tenet number 1 sets that foundation. First, your enrichment must be independent of any connection to a thing, item, trinket, or treasure as they pertain to any doctrine or belief. This will allow you to always keep the main thing while engaged in this masterclass. You are not enriching yourself to get anything. You're enriching yourself to become everything. Everything you possibly can become while here on earth. What enriches you goes beyond the realm of money, what money can buy. The enrichment you must seek and identify every day you awaken to must feed your spirit. Now, whether you call it spirit or something else matters not. It's that part of you that when accessed inspires you, awakens you, it awakens your senses, and makes you delve deep into your imagination. What enriches you must be able to penetrate that part of you. The reason being is because that is where your inner life is, the life you fervently want. It's created within and by accessing the things that the world cannot touch, see, or bother, even if forces try. Now, the late Viktor Frankl penned a classic book that actually speaks about that place that dwells within us all in great detail. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. Written in 1946, the book chronicles his experience as an Auschwitz concentration camp inmate during World War II and describes his psychotherapeutic method, which involved identifying a purpose in life and to feel positively about, and then immersively imagining that outcome. According to Frankl, the way a prisoner imagined the future affected his longevity. You should get that book. It's a magical and powerful book. It's about the power of the human mind when one aligns with the essence of who he truly is, which is what enabled him to survive that life through those hellish times living in a Jewish concentration camp. So, here are my top 5 sources of enrichment I draw from every single day I awaken to. Sometimes I engage in just one and spending a set amount of time with each, and sometimes I choose and engage with only one. No matter what, I always choose every single day. Now, depending on the amount of time you're able to allocate, these enriching exercises, every single day, just as long as you're able to allocate something. Just know that the more time you can put aside for this, the better. If you can do at least 15 minutes, you will be well and good. If you don't have 15 minutes for yourself at the beginning of each day, I would strongly suggest making some changes to your schedule and to your life. That's what you're here for. You will be able to have time for the most important human being on the face of this earth, you. So you can write these down and you can keep them close. And they will also be laid out in your homework, your downloads, and all the stuff that I have for you that basically makes it very easy for you to internalize this stuff. These sources of enrichment are imprinted on my heart and mind forever, and I hope they do the same for you. Here goes. Number one, nature. There is nothing in this world that lends more evidence to the fact that there is something more powerful, more intelligent, and much bigger than our minds can comprehend than nature itself. At any given time, we are living by nature's mercy. We can prepare as much as possible for the various ways nature will let us know it's coming in hard. But even with extensive preparation, nothing can stand in its path. A force of nature is a statement that greatly downplays the true power and meaning of its power, of its prowess. And here, it remains all around us. It remains calm and still in one moment, and raging with lava gushing from its rocks and winds that can carry houses the next moment. And in between that polarity, those polarities of nature itself, is us. And nature receives us and remains open for us to enjoy and revere. It speaks to us as any human being would if we only stopped to simply listen. The beasts of the fields live by instinct that at times make our own human intelligence seem futile. The fish of the sea swim the same waters as one another and coexist better than humanity seems at times. The flowers of the fields and hills of the world show up every day as vibrant as they possibly can, while the birds of the sky fly as high as they possibly can each time they spread their wings. Ants of the ground work together in unison to achieve more in a day than it's sometimes a team of human beings can in a year. Paying attention to nature is one of my, if not my favorite sources of enrichment. Now, for those of you who live in a more metropolitan area and where, little to no nature is around, that's fine. Because no matter where you go, the world is filled with these people called florists. And you can purchase plants, flowers, and small trees depending on your available space. You can bring nature to you. I personally nurture and care for my bamboo plants. In fact, if you look behind me, one is right there. I personally care for those, and I feel enriched when I sit and become fascinated by their stillness and the immense display of the meaning of life at the same time. I envision myself as the roots of my bamboo, steeped in the darkness and doing the work nobody sees, and then allowing the work to be represented by the strength and beauty that sprouts above the dirt surface, or in this case, the water surface, meant for the world to enjoy and see. That's Tenet, or that's resource enrichment source number one for me. Number two, children. If you do not have children, it is okay. We live in a time where technology affords us access to things humanity has never had access to before. By the simple click of a button, YouTube allows us to watch the gift and brilliance of children around the world. When you observe your children, or any child for that matter, you are seeing aliveness at its peak. Aliveness. An unadulterated view of living, if you will. Their fearlessness, void of the caveats taught to them by their parents, their curiosity to learn and engage with everything around them, their detachment from pain. They harbor nothing that harms them, and they forgive so quickly. They are not ashamed of their bodies, of the way it looks, for they are free from the learned judgment and self-hatred that assails so many in our society today. Children, just by being themselves, teach us how having the zeal to simply be alive is never out of reach. Children. Ever wonder how children who are living in dire and poverty-stricken environments can still manage to be happy and smile as bright as the sun? It's because they understand life at its purest form. It's something poverty cannot take away. There is much to be learned from the ignorance of a child, of children. They are the foundation of enrichment, if you will. Only just listen and pay attention to them in a different way. Pay attention to them as such, as the gifts that they are. Personally, my little nieces and nephews enrich me each time I check to see how they're doing. My brothers and I, we communicate. We communicate daily through text messaging, and in the videos that we share, that they share with me of their children, enrich me to the moon, man. For instance, when I see the pure joy in the faces of my nieces holding a simple ice cream cone, standing next to Daddy, my brother, it enriches me. to want to be utterly present in each moment that I find myself holding space with another human being, enjoying a connection that may be as simple as an ice cream cone. I'm enriched to see and I'm enriched to want to take nothing for granted, because that moment, the moment that we're in, is all I have. It's all you have. You see, when I'm enriched by my nieces or nephews, or any child for that matter, it reminds me of what being completely present is. It's everything. And when you can be as present as a child, if you can be as present as a child, when they're happy, you will affect people for better. You will be that enigma that they experience that they don't experience every day. And when you affect people for the better, your life will become enhanced. It will be enhanced dramatically. And the more you do this, the more of it compounds in your life. That's just one means of enrichment a child provides. Watch them. There are deep wells of life lessons. I'm going to drink some more water. Number 3, music, the universal language as it's called. Music is one of those universal gifts that touches every single one of us, whether by listening to it ourselves or being the recipient of someone else's feelings of inspiration from their music that they've listened to. Music touches every single human being under the sun. When fully immersed in the sound of music, you begin to hear your own voice in its rawness. Express how you truly feel about major things in your life. Whether you're singing along or listening to an instrumental play as a background to as the backdrop to your very own song, you should listen to music that indeed is delightful to the ear, but more importantly, makes you feel good. Music that contains no sadness. Music that uplifts you and creates a high vibration, a good mood creating sound. Once you are immersed in the sounds of music and mentally engulfed in it, you should listen to your highest thoughts and turn off the thought flow that doesn't empower you. Hear me. The one that doesn't motivate you or inspire you. Now, this will be more fully explained in the later tenets. Allow the music to take you to that highest place where your highest mind will give you the best advice for you, if you will only listen. Personally, I fall into trance when I listen to symphonies and classical music, or the Gladiator soundtrack, the Book of Eli soundtrack, the Last Dragon movie soundtracks. Those are all regular go-tos when music is my source of enrichment for the day. Now, anyway, I can talk about music all day. When I listen to music, it puts me in a trance where the sounds of the various instruments are working in concert to carry me to my highest mind, where wisdom from the divine, you gotta understand this, hear me on this one for your notes, where wisdom from the divine that dwells within me showers me with salient, meaning important and primary, advice for the day. A pick-me-up talk to ignite my own self without seeking a spark from anyone or anything outside yourself or myself in this case. Without anything outside of yourself. Remember that, folks. Remember that. Music awakens me internally, and it should do the same for you from this point on if you choose for it to be one of your sources of enrichment for the day. Allow yourself to listen to your favorite uplifting music and fall into a trance that while allowing the music to carry you to your highest mind. If lyrics are part of the music and it's not an instrumental, then listen to lyrics that take you higher, okay? That fill you with motivation and inspiration for the day. Not that make you question a bad situation or make you think about a sour situation. Let music take you higher if you're going to use it for one of your sources of enrichment, okay? Number 4, the elderly. The human beings in our lives who've lived longer than us and have seen more life than us, whether they be our grandparents, auntie, or uncle, church mother, the older guy who's faithfully at McDonald's every morning at 6:30 for his daily coffee you run into, or the man or woman in the nursing home. The insight and pure gold of the elders who are still with us is priceless. It can't be calculated. Here's what you do to be enriched by the lives they've lived. Sit with them and bear with them in their old age if words come out clumsy. Engage them and ask about how they lived life. Paint the picture of what life looks like for you In Acts, they share what advice they have that would serve your vision. Be not bothered by some of their words and their views. Hear beyond the words and grab the essence of the emotion that they share with you that they deem fitting advice. Pay attention to their regrets and their mistakes. Ask them, what is the most important thing to carry as you make your journey forward in hopes of reaching their age one day? Tap into the well of wisdom of your elders or those around you. The reason you do this is because a prudent man or woman, one who acts or shows care and thought for the future, is a favored man or woman. Intending to your future has everything to do with now. When you can travel back in time and gather up all the life experiences, joys, pains, regrets of someone who's lived before you, you're saying to life, I respect you, what I am to become if I continue living past this day. I respect what I am to become if I am to continue living past this day. You are gathering wisdom from people who have seen life with eyes you'll never see through, and you're witnessing things that you have yet to see and witness. Do not take your elders lightly. Show them reverence, and you'll indeed enrich yourself for that day. Number 5, the deepest well of goodness you'll ever experience in your life, yourself. The divinity within your own self contains so much power, so much energy, and so much resolve to be the absolute best human being you possibly can be. It's scary. Hence, while most of us never valiantly trust ourselves enough to stand on our own, we always seek validation from some source outside of ourselves. We reluctantly look to ourselves to figure out, a way out of a challenging situation only after we've tried to rely on everything else. We are the last resort for ourselves. We are far from comfortable, far more comfortable, I should say, shying away from the responsibility to be our savior, our greatest ally, or our own champion. We look outside ourselves in a very comparative, meaning comparing our problems to other problems. We look at ourselves in a comparative state of mind to things and people to give us what they couldn't possibly give us even if they wanted to. Meaning that we look to others in an attempt to use their solutions for our problems. The voice you need to hear is the one of your own divinity. Within yourself, this very moment is that voice. It is real and it is there. No matter how faint it may be, it is there. The voice within you that speaks life and positivity into your thoughts and invigorates your being higher than the moon, it is there. And you must spend time getting comfortable hearing that voice every single day. It will grow louder and stronger and eventually be the voice that speaks above any and all things over your life. No longer will you look at being positive for only a minute, a few hours, or a few days, or even months, then fall back into the energy drain pattern of self-deprecating rhetoric you utter to yourself 80% of the time now. No. What I'm telling you to do is make the conscious effort to find your own divine voice. Again, no matter how faint it may be, give it time by nurturing your ears to hear it every single day, and it will grow. One thing I do to continuously amplify my own voice, which has become quite powerful within the confines of my own mind and my own heart, is to meditate standing as erect as I possibly can, arms bent at the elbow, with palms up in posture of openness, in a posture of complete openness, eyes closed, envisioning a being that resembles me, but isn't. It isn't me. It is the etheric me, the sacred me, imparting the most salient words of wisdom I am to have and hear to carry into that day. And I simply listen. The magic of hearing your own voice will reveal things about your own self you never knew existed. I can promise you that. There are many, these are my 5 personal sources of enrichment that I draw from every single day I awaken to. You can use them as inspiration or a guideline, if you will, or in the exactness as I just explained. Within each of them are endless sources of enrichment to last you a lifetime. It's said that a miracle is a shift in perception. I do believe that to be true. And here's one reason why. We've all heard the phrase, treat others as you'd like to be treated. And even though it is a grand piece of advice, and even referenced in the Bible and other religious prose, it is indeed just one perception to have. I'm going to make an addendum to it to suggest that you do the same. For tenet number one, for it to really be the solid foundation necessary for the shifts in every facet of your life to occur, you must grasp this right here. Treat yourself as you would like to have others treat you. Write that down. Memorize it. Stick it in your drawer, your car, wherever. Pardon me. You cannot expect the treatment you fervently desire for yourself from others to be of the highest order if at your core you don't treat yourself or hold yourself in high regard and genuinely feel good about who you are each given day. That is merely living life on the surface, making your world face, your only face. And that is a front. That is not living. In order to receive more fulfilling engagement and interaction from other human beings, you must become the self-enriching human being I'm teaching you to become. Because if you don't, then the treatment you will be more of will simply just be more of the same that you receive from others already. Not rooted, but surface, seemingly sincere, but as hollow as a washed up seashell on the shore. It is the reason why we yearn for deep connection so much. We are not genuine with how we treat, speak, and honor ourselves. Therefore, we are not to receive the genuineness we seek and desire from others. And it is only a bad thing, if you choose to see it as such. Or you can look at it as prime opportunity to be exactly what you want more of in your life and the world. We're living in a time where worldly success couldn't be easier. And unfortunately, it is what consumes our society's ideal of what living a good life is. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's simply not a fulfilling way to live life. And why live life unfulfilled when you do not have to? It seems to me that most of us receive so little from the people we interact with every single day who do not treat themselves with the reverence and honor they should, which leaves the most high-minded and sacred part of ourselves to starve as we all play the game of change face. By enriching yourself at the start of each day, you're saying to your higher self, you matter, and I trust you. And by doing so, what will happen is that you'll begin to eradicate the doubt that you have in yourself. And when your mind is absent of doubt, it can only be occupied by utter certainty. There is no in-between. And then, the need to put on a face out of formality will no longer be your modality. Instead, the face you wear for the world will be no more. It'll become all you, showing up in the fullest way that only you can in every threshold of your life. And as a result of the enrichment you provide yourself and the growth that ensues, it will matriculate into every facet of your life, which allows for you the shifting process for your life to begin. The shift in perception that you will begin to develop is one that will serve you for the remainder of your life. The shift will enable you to begin seeing yourself as a better human being before the world has any say-so each and every day. Remember, peace of mind is the ultimate goal here. Everything in life is better with peace of mind. Everything. So why enrich yourself? Why enrich yourself and be disciplined to do it every single day? The reason why is because it honors your life. It invigorates the divine force within you that causes ideas to flow, inspiration to be found in unlikely places, relationships to be deepened, opportunities that seem so to serendipitously find you at every turn, and your overflow of enriched energy will spill over into others by your presence alone. If it seems as though that I'm not going into enough or all the details in order for you to understand, please note that that is intentional. It is completely intentional. One of the most challenging things you'll learn to conquer by learning these day mastery tenets is the art of walking light, carrying only what you need for the day. I'm sure you would agree that we've all got, you know, we've got all the content that one could ever consume in 1,000 lifetimes. So to give you more is not the idea here. So much is available to learn and explore, and we're enticed by just more and more and more. And while learning is indeed good and essential to the soul, when it comes to truly living a happy life, having peace of mind, and awakening to each and every day a better human being than you did the day before, you're going to have to take out a lot of trash and things that are not needed. I go into much more detail in tenet number 4. But know that the reason I am sharing the exact things I am with you is because it is all that is needed. Mastering the basics of how to live isn't about acquiring more information. It is and will always be about putting to use the right information, the essentials, without any extras or additions. Remember this simple saying: the more I enrich myself, the more I enrich those I love. The more I enrich those I love, the more they enrich people of the world. Gandhi's goal wasn't to forcibly liberate Indians. He did it by way of the enrichment to himself that captivated others. And that self-enrichment inevitably created the paradigm shift that led to Gandhi being revered for eternity by not just his people, but those who resonated with the peace he lived with. His world was unmoved during those times of turmoil in India, but the outside world, for millions of people, was forever transformed because of his overflow of self-enriched awareness. I will now break down enrichment and give you a clear and vivid idea of what it is in context to the day mastery tenets. Daily enrichment of yourself is the ultimate honor one can bestow to life itself. The reason is because you're tending to the most important things you or I have in this life of ours. Write these down. During the seminal stages of my entrepreneurial career, I was fortunate to have a mother who was personally trained by the late Stephen Covey. It was during those formative years that I was introduced to his calming and very peace-filled voice. I learned many things from him, and this is one of them that has stuck with me, and I've modified it a bit to maximize my usage of it, and I hope it serves you as it has me all these years. So, there are 4 life intelligences that make up the totality of our very existence. And when you make the conscious effort to nurture each of them, you inevitably enrich your entire being. You have no other option but to become a better human being, a more peaceful human being, a more productive and abundant human being. And here they are. Number 1, your IQ, your mind. Number 2, your EQ, your heart. Number 3, your PQ, your body. Number 4, your SQ, your spiritual. And it is in the understanding of how to nurture these 4 basic intelligences that each of us is equipped with. Now, that is the determining factor in how your life works out. Your personal philosophy, as my late mentor, Mr. Jim Rohn, used to say, will govern everything in your life until the day you die. Your personal philosophy. Now, learning how to meticulously enrich each of these intelligences allows for you to experience life like you've never experienced, because you are finally seeing life like you've never seen it. This is your personal philosophy. You're developing one. Think about it. When was the last time you made a conscious and methodical effort to enrich your mind, heart, body, and your spiritual intelligence? Not to say that you have never done so, but I'm talking about in a meticulous and granular and very specific daily nurturing to each. If you already do such a thing, then these tenets only amplify the energy you deposit into yourself. And if you're like most people who have never learned how to do such a thing, well, you couldn't be in a better place to be learning how to do so. Now, though the 4 intelligences are hardwired into each of us, there is one that holds more power than them all. Number 4, your spiritual intelligence. When you nurture your spiritual intelligence and allow for it to be that baseline that all other intelligences abide by, you become a different human being. Change is inevitable. As you nurture your spiritual intelligence, as you're going to learn, you start to see how connected to everything and every person you are, every cell in the universe you are. True spirituality is not and cannot be about anything outside yourself, any outside deity. That is the man-made falsity that has been bequeathed and passed down through millennia. And because of man's need to publicly justify our spirituality and faith, we create our own depictions of the divine and creator, which creates separation and war amongst mankind from beliefs steeped in man's manipulation. Yet we never nourish and enrich the divine within ourselves. And we stake our very existence on a falsity crafted by mankind thousands of years ago. Yet wonder why calamity, confusion, and frustration assail billions of men and women in the confines of their own hearts and minds. We quietly live in disarray and confusion and emotional conflict, all the while publicly putting on a harmonious performance. That is not living. And when your life is rooted and governed by a falsity, no matter how much belief you have in it, it will only fuel the calamity, confusion, frustration, and depression you have in your life. And sadly, many people grow old realizing this at the end of their lives rather than during the prime of their lives. I am not a preacher or claim any doctrine. Though I grew up in a Baptist home, attended Catholic schools the majority of my school life, worked at family Christian stores as a teenager, the whole 9 yards. And while some of my life's best lessons came during those times, those lessons and experiences would only intensify my yearning and hunger to explore the feeling inside me, that there was more than what I'd been around. There was just more, and it was deeper. And none of what I'd been hearing and learning was touching that depth. I didn't know during that time, but all those moments of questioning, confusion, and inner conflict would be the elements needed to bring me to this very point with you, sharing things with you that have allowed me to live life the way it's supposed to be lived, exploring the highways of life detached from beliefs and doctrines conjured up by man, and doing it peacefully. All around the world, we see strife, war, deadly conflict. And once in a while, we'll see stories from people who are living in such hellish conditions. And for the first, and the first thing you not just hear in their voices, but see in their eyes is that they yearn for peace. They would give anything up to live a peaceful life. When your spirituality's roots go beyond man's reach, you operate by a different code. You no longer have to defend your faith by a book or depiction. You will no longer separate one people from another based on their religious ideals. When your spirituality is cut away from man's manipulation, you will begin to operate from oneness. You begin to operate from a divine place that is within us all, a peaceful place. There is no war in the mind of a peaceful man. There is no abuse to your partner in the mind of a peaceful man or woman. There is no haunting thoughts of suicide in the mind of a peaceful person. There is no envy in the eyes of a peaceful man or woman. There is not hatred in the mind of a person who is at peace with him or herself. You see, when you nurture these four intelligences, you are enriching yourself. And the biggest benefit to enriching yourself is the expansion of your consciousness, or awareness as some call it. And the only way to live with more awareness, to live your life in a constant motion forward, is to enrich yourself every single day. Now, why every day? Because the threats that stand to wreak havoc on your peace of mind are never at rest. They are there. They are always there, waiting for the right time when you are vulnerable, or when you feel like just taking one day off, and another, and maybe a third, until before you know it, you're right back in the pool of calamity, confusion, and frustration, and ultimately depression. Don't be lazy in crafting your life. It is the most egregious error one can make while here on earth. You must seek out such sources that are repositories of enrichment, just like the ones I mentioned earlier and contained in your homework, sources that feed and nurture your four intelligences. Your primary responsibility is to tend to your four intelligences every single day so that inevitably your entire being is enriched. The power, the reason more power is contained within your spiritual intelligence is because it has everything to do with your consciousness. The one thing that separates you from the beasts in the fields and fish of the sea. Your ability to choose what to believe, where to live, what to say, what to do. Consciousness gives us those choices. And with freedom of choice comes responsibility. You are responsible for your life once you are, watch this, conscious of your role as a sentient being. Those we're born to have an obligation to care for us until we're able to care for ourselves. Even nature displays that in many species that mankind has come to know. But once the coddling is over and we're able to think and choose for ourselves, then it falls on us and the responsibility to care for our own lives becomes a reality. Now, and guess what? I, you, and billions of people today and of antiquity go on living life without ever knowing this responsibility to the degree that you're learning now, let alone practice. We engage in rituals and practices that have been done and passed along for hundreds of years and not once challenge beliefs that we were born into, never delving into the cosmos within, detached from all or any kind of man-made doctrine or religion. Your spirituality must not be rooted in a falsity, in man's definition and fashion. Your spirituality must be actualized and explored within your own being first in order for you to actualize the peace attained when these tenets are practiced the way I'm teaching you. And as a side note, as a member of this beta Day Mastery Tenets group, you will receive a question form where you can submit any and all questions. So, if you have specific questions in the live Q&A sessions that we will have, that I will hold just for every single person who is a paying member of the DMT community, I will have a form that is available just to you that will be your opportunity to ask specific questions regarding each tenet. I want to make certain there is no ambiguity or confusion with anything I'm imparting to you. So moving on, you must not be lazy tending to your life like this. Either you carry the pounds of discipline now, or you'll carry the tons of regret later. You must approach your life with the same amount of sophistication and consideration that you do planning a vacation, putting together the best outfit and makeup combination, or any of the things we place much importance on. Listen, if you fail to approach life with a higher sense of reverence and a commitment to enriching yourself, then you'll forever remain at the mercy of the self-sabotaging thoughts, depression, loneliness, inferiorities, and all the other draining emotions that visit every human being. You see, it's not a matter of it happening to you or not. It's a matter of you being prepared in ways that most people do not prepare. Most people have learned how to prepare for a job, for a show, for a meeting, for a date. But most of us go through life without the slightest clue on how to live. We've spent absolutely zero time exploring the very thing we do every single day: live. I thought it was crazy as a 20-year-old, and I still think so 15 years later. There are no classes taught in intermediate school, middle school, or high school called How to Live 101. No, everything but life itself is taught. Therefore, we all grow up handling and fashioning life with the same information everybody else has, relying on the hope that things get better. For me, hope is when every act, deed, input, and contribution I can put forth has been exhausted and there's nothing else left. That's when hope comes into play for my life, and I suggest you consider the same. You have every opportunity and ability to live a well-designed life, even if you're not in total control. Now, man has come to control many things, but as long as death is a reality, we will never be in total control. You are learning how to live with these day mastery tenets. You are learning how to take care of first things first. You. The groundwork has been laid for you to see the value and importance of enriching yourself each and every day. Now let us move into fortifying and bringing even more clarity to the day mastery tenets. For now, I want you to take the next full week until tenet number 2 arrives, and what I want you to do is record each and every day when you awaken the sources of enrichment you choose to tap into and learn from. Journaling pages will be provided with the homework as well as the daily follow-up from me to help guide you as you begin to put these enrichment exercises into practice until they are ingrained in your daily routine. If what enriches you seems silly or trivial, don't worry about that. It's none of your concern. My only concern and what I want for you is that you identify what truly enriches you and bask in it each and every day you awaken to it. I'll see you in the next video as I delve straight, like literally straight in with actionable implementation. The following tenets will be much shorter than this first one. Note that if at any time you find yourself perplexed or confused about anything as you're learning these day mastery tenets, write those questions down, keep them so that you can submit them in the live Q&A session so I can answer them for you there. Now go. Go and find your enriching sources and take time to go through the homework, and I will see you in the next video.